Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last part we beat the 8th gym leader Claire, but she didn't give us the gym badge because she doesn't think we're worthy. So now we have to come here to the Dragon's Den to prove we're worthy. Being named the Dragon's Den, you can probably expect more or less every trainer here is going to use Dragon Pokemon. It's essentially just the second part of the gym, though I will say in order to actually reach the point we need to do for plot, you do need to have the Whirlpool HM on a Pokemon, so in my team right now I actually brought back in Graham, the shiny Gyarados, and I've taught them Whirlpool. Now, you can find some Pokemon in here, in the water, namely a lot of Magikarps, but occasionally you can find yourself a Dratini. With that said, you can get a Dratini here no matter what, as long as you do well in what we're going to do in a few moments. So I would recommend just waiting there, because it's a lot easier to get one that way than any other method in the game. As a kid, I didn't like this area because it genuinely kind of scared me. Not because of the atmosphere or anything, just the idea that there might be trainers more powerful than Claire here. Nowadays, I don't like this area because it's fluff. That just kind of gets in the way of the flow of the campaign. A lot of other Pokemon games, this type of area would become optional at least, but it's definitely a bit of a weird standout compared to everything else. Also, speed up theme for this part, even though it's only used, I think, twice, and this is the last time here, is the main battle theme from Ring Fit Adventure. That game's great. Real workout, but it's really got some good music too. Close to 100%ing it. Close. And right there is a Whirlpool. We can use Whirlpool to cross those, and we've seen them before. You can see those as early as the aptly named Whirl Islands that might come into play later. Call to hunt. Whirlpool as an HM, though, is one of my least favorites. Same with Waterfall. I just find them to be very padding-y in terms of how they railroad you into going to certain areas first or not. And to be fair, Pokemon had that problem a lot until Gen 5. Gen 4 was especially the peak of that, just due to defog existing. But Whirlpool and Waterfall have always been two of my favorites. At least Gen 4 gave Whirlpool more of a Waterfall rather, more of a purpose because it's a decent physical water move. But prior to Gen 4, I didn't see much point in it, and nowadays, unless I'm using a physical water type as rare as that is, I'm not using that move anyway. There's a Dragon Fang. That is a held item that boosts the power of Dragon-type moves. Now that you're very likely to be able to use those in most team setups unless you have a Dragon-type outright, because I think Dragon's also the hardest move type to learn? Because it's usually only learned by Dragon-types or certain sub-typed Pokemon, like, I believe Charizard can learn, like, Dragon Fang or something like that.
Good to see you here. No need to explain why you came. Claire sent you here, didn't she? That girl's a handful. I'm sorry, but I must test you. Not to worry, you are only to answer a few questions. Ready? What are Pokemon to you?
Well, to me, they're a friend or an ally. Now, no matter what you do here, you're going to get a reward at the end of this. But if you want a better reward, you're going to want to answer in certain ways depending on the version of the game you're playing. If you're playing Crystal, you're going to want to answer Pal here. Ally or friend are good for HeartGold, SoulSilver, though.
Oh, I understand. What helps you to win battles?
In Crystal, it should be strategy or raising, or it's training here in HeartGold, SoulSilver.
Oh, I understand. What kind of trainer do you wish to battle?
Anybody or anyone, Crystal, HeartGold, SoulSilver answers.
Oh, I understand. What is most important for raising Pokemon?
Love and knowledge are both good answers there.
Oh, I understand. Strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon. Which is more important?
Both. Everything has a place.
I see. You care deeply for Pokemon. Very commendable. That conviction is what is important. Kyle, don't lose that belief. I'll see you through at the Pokemon League.
Hello, Claire. So how did it go? I guess there's no point in asking. You did fail? What? You passed? That can't be! You're lying. Even I haven't been approved.
Claire, this child is impeccable in skill and spirit. Admit defeat and confer the Rising Badge. Or must I inform Lance of this?
I understand. Here, this is the Rising Badge. Hurry up, take it! Alright, that's all 8 gyms of Johto! Which means the Pokemon League is all that's left for us to go tackle. The Rising Badge will enable your Pokemon to use the move for climbing waterfalls. As soon as past me scrolls the text, there we go. Also, all Pokemon will know you as a trainer and obey your every command without question.
Claire, reflect upon what it is that you lack and this child has.
Bye, Claire.
By the way, have you heard of Lugia? Between Olivine and Senwood are islands called the Whirl Islands. There's a huge waterfall deep in the cave there. It is said that Lugia rests in the deep end of the waterfall basin. You need a Silverwing to reach the waterfall basin, I've heard.
Well, we're gonna have to keep that in mind, I guess. For now, let's get the hell out of this place. Although I will be re-entering as soon as we leave, because that's when our reward spawns. By and large, honestly, it's a little surprising when you really run into a Dratini here naturally, because they're not too rare. They're only like a 10% chance, I think, compared to a Magikarp's 90, but it's still a little bit of a jump scare when you're so used to only encountering like Tentacruels, Tentacools, the occasional Goldeen, and Magikarps when you're surfing in any regard. Maybe that's part of why people found Gen 5 unnerving at the time, or at least older players, because they were so unused to their old friend Magikarp being missing, clearly. The main reason I'm not jump cutting out of here, by the way, is mainly because, well, look who's still here. Wait. I'm sorry about this. Here, take this as my apology. And we get TM59. That contains Dragon Pulse. Well, Dragon Pulse is a kind of... never mind. It's a huge energy of some kind. If you don't want it, you don't have to take it. What's the matter? If you're headed to the Pokemon League, go back to Newbark Town and surf along Route 27. Your face is telling me you have some unfinished business. Come on! Whatever you have to face now, don't you dare give up. If you do, I'll feel even worse about having lost to you. Give it your all. Thanks. Bye. I guess minor interesting note, I believe to this day this is the only location you still earn a gym badge outside of a gym. From memory, at least. Hello, Kyle. How's it going? I've gotten a hold of something neat. Swing by my lab and pick it up. See you later. Okay, been a while since you called. Well, it hasn't been too long since Professor Elm called us now that I think about it. But I immediately want to head back in there and head back to where the Elder is in particular.
Good to see you here. Your arrival is most fortunate. I have something for you. Take this Dratini as proof that I now know your worth.
No matter how you do the answers in the quiz he gave us a few moments ago, he gives you a Dratini here. And I guess I might as well give this a nickname. Welcome to the team, Zoe. This Dratini can vary up a little bit, though.
Dragon Pokemon are symbolic of our clan. You have shown that you can be entrusted with one.
So, you get that Dratini no matter how you answer that quiz he gave us. But if you give the good answers that I talked about, it has a particular change in moveset. If you gave all the correct answers, it has extreme speed in its moveset, which is a much better quick attack. It's not only stronger, but it is a higher priority move than quick attack. For instance, this is a +2 move, I believe, which means it'll move before any other priority 1 moves like quick attack. If you don't answer correctly, I believe it just has, I think, Leer in place in the moveset. It's a free Dratini, though, so you can't really laugh it off. Sure, it'll take a while to grind up if you want to use it on your team, but a free Dragon type's not too bad, honestly. Oh, hey, Leer, been a while. Kyle, did you already collect 8 badges? That's so cool! The professor is waiting for you. Hi, Kyle. You never cease to amaze me. Thanks to you, my research is going great. Take this as a token of my appreciation. And here we get our old friend, the Master Ball. The Master Ball is the best. It's the ultimate Pokeball. It'll catch any Pokemon without fail. It's only given to noted Pokemon researchers and lottery winners. I think you can make much better use of it than I can, Kyle. By the way, we just had a group of beautiful kimono girls looking for you. Kyle, people are talking about you. I heard you helped kimono girls? You've been helping all these people. You make me proud to be your friend. Bye, Lyra. The Kimono Girls are waiting for you at the Critique Dance Theater. And thus we gotta return there after... How long has it been? Like 7, 8, 9 parts, somewhere about that? I wonder what a Kimono Girl wants from you. Don't know, but not my focus right now, boy. Hi, Kyle. Where do you think you're going, Kyle? They want you to go do the Kimono Girl stuff before you head towards the Pokemon League. This has changed from the original game, because I believe you can just completely ignore this plot point and just go straight to the Pokemon League once you have the badge from Claire. Is it a change that's a little weird, structurally? Yes. Do I mind it that much? Not really. Let's check it out. Oh, hi. How is this possible? How can I lose to mere Kimono Girls? You were watching me, Kyle. Yeah, that's right. I never thought defeating 5 Kimono Girls would be so hard. I got beaten to a pulp. You must have come here for the same reason, right? Don't get cocky just because you defeated Team Rocket. These Kimono Girls are insanely strong. Go ahead, see if you can defeat them. But I'm not going back. I don't want to see you win. Okay, bye. Glad to see your journey's not changing you at all. Five of you, huh? Welcome. My name is Zuki. I met you previously in Violet City. In order to bring back Lugia, we needed somebody with the right bond with Pokemon. We asked Mr. Pokemon to give this mystery egg to whoever showed true potential. The egg was eventually handed from Mr. Pokemon to Professor Elm, and then to you. However, being pure alone will not be sufficient to face the power of this Pokemon. I must test you. Are you ready? Yep. I'll test how closely you bonded with your Pokemon. Time for a little bit of a battle endurance round. We gotta go through all 5 Kimono Girls in battle. They each only have 1 Pokemon, though. The 5 Gen 2 evolutions. Starting off here, we got Umbreon, the Dark-type evolution. This evolves from Eevee if you level it up with high enough friendship at night. Being pure Dark-type, it is weak to Fighting, Bug, and eventually Fairy, but immune to Psychic. Umbreon's a pretty good evolution. It's got essentially the HP stat of Vaporeon, but it's all put into its special defense stat, and it's got a pretty good defense stat on top of that. Its attacking and speed aren't anything too substantial, but at least has a good HP value on top of all that. This is probably the second tankiest Vaporeon overall in my eyes, although it is the most directly defense-focused. The big thing is, Vaporeon at least has movesets it learns as levels that are directly defense-related, particularly Acid Armor towards the later part of the level line. I've used Umbreon plenty of times, it's really good. Honestly, there's only really one evolution that I don't think is that good nowadays, even still. Like, they fixed Flareon in Gen 4, but from memory, Glaceon is adorable, but it can have some problems. Speaking of which, I should note, there are eventually ways to get a lot of Sinnoh and Hoenn Pokemon in HeartGold, SoulSilver. I'd say you could probably get, probably close to like 4/5, 2/3 of the Pokemon as of Gen 4 in HeartGold, SoulSilver alone. But you cannot get Glaceon and Leafeon through any method besides trading from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum from memory, as the stones you need to level them up near in order to evolve an Eevee into those forms are just not present throughout this game, period. Little annoying, but they wanted to probably make it so that you actually had to do some interplay there. Nowadays, we got stuff like Pokemon Bank, or whatever the name of the current version of that is on Switch, to sort of help mitigate that. Same with stuff like Wonder Trade. But not a fan much at all. Mind you, in Johto, really, I'd say what will serve you best is either an Umbreon, the next one we're going to see, or a Vaporeon. Flareon can be good, especially here in Gen 4's version of Johto. But outside of it, a little rough. Jolteon, I just usually use other electric types, if I'm using an electric type, period. You are quite strong. You helped me in Elex Forest. My name is Naoko. I'm the one that's not so good at directions. My eyes witnessed you defeating Team Rocket when Kurt was in trouble at Soul Poke Well. Allow me to challenge you and your Pokemon. Alright, Naoko uses the next evolution in line. and the second one added here in Generation 2. This is Espeon, the Psychic-type evolution. This evolves from Eevee when it levels up with high happiness during the daytime, although there are sometimes some items that you can use on it instead. It kind of depends on the game, really. Pure Psychic-type, so it is weak to Bug, Ghost, and Dark. This is the best special attacking Eevee to date from memory. Very high special attack, and it's really fast as well. It doesn't have much in the way of HP or physical stats, and its special defense is okay. If you're looking for a good special attacker, you cannot go wrong with this. I think it learns a lot of the good Psychic moves just by leveling up. Yeah, it learns Psychic even just by leveling up. So you can get some good stuff out of this one. In fact, the reason when I first got Chris that I didn't immediately throw him into my party and start leveling him up was I wanted to avoid the potential of having to just mash the B button whenever he leveled up and got him into an Umbreon or an Espeon, depending on the time of day it was. I figured it was just better to wait until I actually had a Water Stone to use on him when I needed someone who could use Surf.
Oh, you are truly strong.
Next up, number 3.
You are quite the trainer. I remember you chasing off that Team Rocket Grunt from right here. I must thank you for that. Although I'm actually a trainer myself. She who knows the most speaks the least. I am Miki, the Kimono Girl. Allow me to challenge you and your Pokemon.
Miki uses easily the most boosted evolution present in these 5 fights in this generation, Flareon. Pure Fire type, so it is weak to Ground, Rock, and Water. This evolves from Eevee when you use a Firestone on it. Flareon was not useful at all prior to Gen 4, as it is very focused on its physical attack, and I think its 2 special stats are still high, just not as high. And as I mentioned way back in Part 1 during the explanation of the physical special split, Fire as a type used the special attack stat prior to this gen. So it just never got a chance to use its same type attack bonus with any added effect to its really high stat, meaning it was just not very good. Nowadays, with addition of moves like Fire Fang and some other physical fire type moves, it's honestly really good. I would really recommend using it. And plus, I believe it can learn some other moves that are really useful outside of that for the other types it can learn. Speaking of learning, we're going to give Kuro Slash here. Slash is like one of my favorite normal type moves. Decent power, but also extraordinarily high critical hit ratio. Love to see it.
Oh, you're good at Pokemon too.
I certainly hope so. These games are meant for kids overall, so they're meant to be kinda easy.
Excellent fighting spirit. You got me off the ice by pushing me from the back. I'm the one who skates in sandals. I'm Sayo, the Kimono Girl. I was listening in the Dragon's Den when you passed the test of the Elder. Allow me to challenge you and your Pokemon.
And next up, we got the final new evolution that we're going to see during this game, because I don't think we see a Glaceon or Leafeon anytime soon, at least. Sayo here's got Jolteon. This evolves from Eevee when you use a Thunderstone on it. Pure electric type, so it is weak to ground exclusively, meaning in terms of weaknesses, until I want to say Sylveon was added, it's arguably the best on that front. Jolteon's got a good special attack, but extraordinarily high speed, and its special defense isn't anything to laugh at either. Its physical stats, though, aren't really anything to write home about. In Gen 1, this was arguably the best evolution because of things like Pin Missile and the original single special stat and all that. Nowadays, I'd say it's a healthy option. There's just usually better electric types around, barring the obtusely high speed stat, is what it comes down to a lot of the time. I've used one a lot, it's cute. I'll always remember the weird episode of the anime where there was the kid whose 3 older brothers, I think they were his brothers, just had the original 3 evolutions, and they even styled their hair after it, and they looked weird. There was a lot of weird Gen 1 Pokemon episodes, especially the ones that didn't make it here stateside. Electric Soldier Porygon's only the tip of that iceberg. With that said, with Jolteon out of the way, you can probably guess what the final Kimono Girl's gonna use. So make sure you got some electric type moves at the ready, because, not for nothing, this challenge is harder than I remember, but I think it's because I have split my levels a bit weirdly compared to when I played this game casually when I was a kid. If anything, it's a matter of trying to play the game better sometimes makes you play the game a little worse at the same time, because you're trying to spread your experience, which means everyone gets a good level, but that means you don't have anyone that's like super ahead of the curve, which is a better curve here in HeartGold SoulSilver. I'll talk more about that during the credits, though, as I've alluded to a couple times. Just make sure you got some ground-type moves and you're good. Hopefully you'll have more than Dig, although I don't think you can get Earthquake's TM until sometime down the line, I think. I forget where. Oh, so close. I almost had you. Technically, yes. I'm the last one. You were so dependable at the Goldenrod Tunnel. I'm the one who twirls even underground. I am Kuni, the kimono girl. I looked at you in wonder when you thwarted Team Rocket's mission to take over the radio tower. You must show your strength to me now. Allow me to challenge you in your Pokémon. Alright, so of course, using the original 5 Gen 1 and 2 evolutions, she's going to be using Vaporeon. I've gone over this Pokemon. I love it. There's one on my team. It's one of my favorite water types. Use it. But for those who missed it, high HP, decent special attack, and I think okay special defense was the third stat there. The way the EV stats are generally balanced is one of their stats, their highest stat is 130. The second highest stat is 110. The third highest stat is 95. But then the other 3 stats are usually somewhere about their 60s. So they definitively have a focus, and in a way they're all meant to sort of focus a specific playstyle in a way. That's part of the reason people think we haven't gotten a new one since Sylveon, barring the other theory that is the special theory, where barring the absence of a dragon type one, every single evolution we've gotten to date, including some theories for Fairy because of this, were ones that were all special using attacks in Gen 3 prior. So if we were to get a new evolution anytime soon, it would probably be the Dragon-type one. Who knows? Maybe it's in Scarlet Violet. We don't know. We haven't seen officially yet. There's been some leaks here and there, but there's been some leaks here and there for Pokemon for, I can't count that high. Oh, you are wonderful. We were not wrong about you. You are indeed worthy of this. Please, take it. And thus, the title bell enters our collection.
Big sisters! I just saw the big shadow of a Pokemon in the Whirl Islands waters. It could be...
Kyle, we'll be at the Whirl Islands. See you there. And thus, it's time for us to go after our title legendary. If you are playing HeartGold, you have a much shorter trip ahead of you because you just have to head to the northern heart of Ecruteak. But we have to come over to Whirl Islands, and this is a much larger dungeon. We got 4 islands, all with whirlpools in front that we need to get through. And we're actually not getting to the legendary this part. The Whirl Islands have enough items in them to get that I actually just spent a lot of time floundering about getting them. The really annoying thing about the Whirl Islands to me compared to, I think it's the Burn Tower for HeartGold players. We can go in there later down the road ourselves here on SoulSilver. Is, in order to access Whirl Islands, period, you need Whirlpool, because they don't want you to come in here too early, I guess, and grab some items. It's mostly just for area variance, I guess, at this point. But the area itself is a cave, and it's a dark cave that, barring the last 2 floors, you need flash in order to see well in there. Meaning, barring the use of, I think, some electric water types, like the Chinchou line, I believe you can get somewhere about here by using fishing rods, you are going to need at least 2 Pokemon with dedicated moves in order to get around. With that said, you only actually need Whirlpool, so I am looking at a map and just doing my best to navigate the Whirl Islands in the dark and just grab all the items. And honestly, full disclosure, I would recommend doing that for any older Pokemon game that have flash caves in them, be it Dark Cave here in Gen 2 / HeartGold SoulSilver, Rock Tunnel in Gen 1, slash Fire Red Leaf Green slash other things, including Let's Go. I think you need Flash in there in some form in Let's Go. I forget if Gen 4 has one because it's been a while. Because it's just not worth having Flash around as a move for combat, really. Because I don't even think I've talked about what it does as a combat move. It cuts the accuracy of the opponent. But in that fight, Kuro reached level 30. And at level 30, Teddy Ursa evolves into Ursaring. Ursaring is one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. Pure normal type still, so it's weak to fighting, immune to ghosts, and it can never be truly super effective. But this thing's got good HP, good enough special stats, a good physical defense stat, and a ridiculously high attack stat. About equal to Flareon's, for instance. But it can learn a lot of really good physical moves. The biggest problem with Ursaring is that it's pretty slow. But you can even use that as part of your moveset by using moves that might be more powerful if they move second in battle. Plus, if you're going for something that doesn't do that, Quick Claws are always around. I love Ursaring. It is a powerhouse. Only problem is, you get one so late. So even if you are doing everything I'm doing to get it as high level as you can, it's probably not going to be equal with your team if you get it as soon as you can by the time you reach the Pokemon League without doing some notable grinding, which is a little bit annoying no matter what game that happens in. That's one benefit I'll give to Crystal, especially all these years later. If you want a Fanfy, you can get one early on Route 46 for some reason at the very start of the game, and you'll have a good Donphan by the end of it. That's pretty paramount to your levels. A similar problem happened to me back in my Crystal LP even, because back in that LP, I used a Skarmory. In fact, by complete accident, I did end up using some Pokemon over again from back then, because I had a Haunter in my team back then. I had Typhlosion, of course. I didn't use a Sandshrew or a Heracross. Skarmory was my flyer. What am I missing from that team? Let's see, Typhlosion, Sandslash, Haunter, Heracross, Skarmory. Vaporeon! It was a Vaporeon, duh. It's me. It's almost always going to be a Vaporeon if I can get one. The slightly convenient thing when it comes to the Whirl Islands is that at least all the entrances eventually lead back to one another. But if you are just trying to go here for the plot stuff, you're going to want to enter through the northeastern island. That is just the shortest path to the exit. Are we going to be doing that this part? No. But that's what I recommend overall. This is where I find myself in a little bit of a quandary when it comes to how I record games versus how I play them casually. For LP, I usually find myself going into more effort for getting, in some definition of 100%, as close as you can in some ways, barring, like, in the case of Pokemon, like, completing the Pokedex or things like that. As on LP, I find myself, I want to try and show off the games as best as I can. That's why, for instance, back in the Mega Man Battle Network Operates Star Force LP, the redo of Battle Network 1, I did everything in that game to showcase any version of BN1 as best as I could nowadays, compared to my old LPs of those games, where I only did the main story. It's just a thing that's happened to me as I've continued making videos. I want to show the games off as best I can. Is there still some favoritism there? Yes, for instance, with the Final Fantasies, the only game I'm doing the post-game for now at least, is FF4. I'm not doing 5 or 6 Advanced, so no post-game there. The next time we see some form of post-game for a Final Fantasy LP will probably be 10. And that's because in terms of, like, non-re-released games, well, I guess no, because that was international, so that was also a re-release. Just not one we didn't get here in the States for a while. Although I guess the arena was there in the original game, so you could at least count that as some form of post-game. It's partially why this LP is going to be as long as it is overall, because I think at this point we're only around the 17-18 hour mark in the recording file, I think, out of like 57. We're only at like 9 hours of actual video from memory, because I've had to cut out that much backtracking and excess Pokemon battles. but the way I do Pokemon can lead to some problems when it comes to video space is the problem. It's kind of why these videos end up being as long as they do, because I want to get as much done as I can in a single video and have some form of progress while also showing the game off as much as I can. And not for nothing, as redundant as it is, I am glad I get to show off as many Pokemon as I do throughout these games. Because it shows that I can show off a good amount of the Pokedex that was there at the time. And sometimes my opinions on Pokemon will change as we go, because they'll get better in subsequent gens. For instance, a lot of Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon. I think even some Gen 3 Pokemon ended up getting some stat boosts in Gen 6, for instance. Not notable, not notable ones all the same, but not like obscene ones. Like a 5 to 10 point boost in like 1 or 2 stats period for most of them that got them. But it's cool that they at least have tried to keep the series in some form, quote-unquote, balance as we've gone through. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 18, we're going to dig on down to the depths of the Whirl Islands and go catch ourselves a title legendary. See you guys then.